Greetings, mortal beings. Gothic Gaming Geek here. Now, it's not too often I talk about my personal life or things that have happened to me in my life because that's not what this channel's all about, but, I was in the shower and, as you know, one of two things can happen when you're in the shower. Either some profound thought will come to you out of goddamn nowhere, or your brain will start combing through your memories, trying to figure out where everything went wrong. The latter is what usually happens to me, and this time was no exception. Now, back when I was in high school, I didn't know shit about fuck. Well, obviously. If I did, why the fuck would I have been wasting my time with school? But Lord have mercy was my mental retardation on another fucking level. I'm not saying I'm smart now, but by golly, back then was I just the dumbest piece of shit. Now, for those of you who are somehow unaware, there was a point in the early 2000s going into the 2010s where I swear to God, every modern Sonic game was seen as horrible, regardless of quality. If you liked anything outside of Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles and CD, you were the scum of the earth. Of course, I didn't do a hell of a lot of research, so I was completely unaware of this. And while this was going on, I liked all of these games, right? All of the modern Sonic games, 06, Unleashed, fucking Black Knight, whatever, didn't matter. If it was a Sonic game, specifically a 3D Sonic game, I loved it. So needless to say, whenever I got into a Sonic-related discussion with somebody, shit got fucking awkward, and people looked at me like I was the dumbest piece of shit they'd ever seen, and I had no idea why. But anyway, one day I was in class, and it was before class started, and I overheard two guys talking about Sonic. I decided to join in on the conversation, saying I liked Sonic as well. And they were engaging with me, they were willing to talk with me about it, and then I opened my mouth and said the dumbest thing I could have possibly said, being like, oh, I like the modern Sonic games. And one of the guys was like, looked at me so strangely and was like, I will have to kindly disagree. Which, okay, better than making fun of me. But then, awkward silence. Did not talk to me for the rest of the class. And I could tell by the look on their faces that they were judging me mentally. And let me tell you, it did not feel good at all. And I didn't know, I had no idea what I just said. Because I just assumed that people liked all the Sonic games. That was my assumption, Sonic's a popular series, people like the games, right? They were talking about Sonic, obviously they liked Sonic, so what the fuck did I say? I had no idea. Then there was another time on the bus. See, there was this junior high kid who rode the same bus as me, the bus I rode home, and, we talked a lot, we were, kind of friends, but kind of not, we just kind of talked because, we rode the same bus, and we sat next to each other, so that's just kind of how it was. And then one day, he asked me a terrible question, and that was, what is my favorite Sonic game? And I said it wrongly, too. I said Sonic the Hedgehog 2007. Obviously, I meant Sonic 06, and even he knew what I meant, and the fucking look on his face, and I'm like, what's up? And he's like, oh, nothing, that's just supposed to be one of the worst Sonic games. Now, of course, he didn't, stop talking to me completely, but, that definitely ended that conversation, though, and he never dared to bring up Sonic ever again. Yeah, just pretty much just best thing to do, avoid the subject of Sonic around me, because I will say stupid things. But To be fair, that probably applies to many Sonic fans. Sure enough, I started doing research and everything started to make sense. I came to find out that Sonic 06 was one of the most hated games of all time, watched countless videos, had to hear countless people bash one of my favorite games of all time, and it felt like shit. It made me feel like there was something wrong with me, like I was dumb for having this opinion, and not only that, people started bashing pretty much every Sonic game that I liked, and it made me feel like there was something wrong with me. Like, I was the only fucking person who liked these games, and that I was just gonna be an outcast forever. Just for what? Having a differing opinion? Oh, how dare I have an opinion? I'm so sorry, I'll stop doing that. Turns out there's a light at the end of this tunnel, though, because I did end up meeting my best friend through Sonic. I was in PE, and it was before class, or I don't know, maybe after class, waiting for the bell to ring. Something like that, and, you know, there was this guy they had me sitting next to, because, as you know, they lined us up, and it was, by last name. This guy just so happened to have the last name as me, same last name as me, so we stood/sit next to each other, and, we had conversations, and anyway, whatever, so, waiting for the bell to ring, or whatever, had my PSP out, hidden behind the backpack, because if they'd seen the PSP, they would have confiscated it, because that's how that school was, but hiding it behind my backpack, and I was playing Sonic Rivals 2. And he saw me playing it, and he later told me that it was at that moment that he knew we'd be BFFs. Because he was a Sonic fan as well, we were both Sonic fans, and I did have honest conversations with him. I did tell him that I liked Sonic 06 and all that jazz, and he didn't judge me. He was just like, oh, that's weird. That's a lot of people's least favorite Sonic game, and that's one of your favorites. That's very interesting to hear. And he'd never played it before. All he knew about it was that it was bashed, and he did see Let's Plays of it, and he didn't think much of it himself. And I actually convinced him to play it, at least to give it a chance to see what he thought of it, and oddly enough, he ended up liking it too. And I think he still does. We both still do, and it's crazy to me. He also grew up seeing Shadow the Hedgehog as somewhat of a guilty pleasure, which that was also one of my favorite Sonic games. And I'm like, damn. Me and this guy are on the same fucking wavelength. Like, we get each other. We understand each other. And, like, we talked about Sonic all the fucking time, and it felt good, man. It felt so fucking good to finally meet someone who I could have honest Sonic conversations with, and who wouldn't fucking judge me and treat me like a piece of shit for having these opinions. Like, and we're still friends to this day. And, like, we don't, live near each other anymore, we live states away, but we still contact each other, we still stay in contact, we still talk to each other nearly every day, and just having that is good enough for me. And now we fast forward to present day, where more and more people are actually starting to appreciate the older Sonic games. People love the adventure games to death. There's people saying Heroes is one of the best games of all time. There's people who actually unironically like Sonic 06, and also people who are like, oh, well, it's kind of a mess, but I love it anyway. And there's even people who are saying that Unleashed, like, some people are saying Unleashed is, like, the best Sonic game. And I'm just like, where the fuck were you people when I was in high school? Like, okay, we could have been friends. We could have been good friends. Pretty much the only criteria you need to be my friend is to, 1, like Sonic 06, and 2, not be a pedophile. Like, that's all. That's all. just like Sonic 06 and don't be a kitty diddler. Like, that's all. Like, where the fuck were you people? Where are you coming from? Were you all in hiding like me? And are, like, just now comfortable enough to actually express honest opinions? Because there was a point in time when I felt like I was the only one. And now, suddenly, out of nowhere, you people are walking out of the woodwork. Where have you been? Where have you been all my life? Okay? Let's chat, like... Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. I just figured I'd share this little story of mine. And those of you who actually sat down to watch it and were willing to hear me out, I greatly appreciate it, more than you know. I obviously don't expect to go too far with this channel. I haven't really been getting anywhere so far, but one or two of you who occasionally support me are the thing that convinces me to at least keep trying, because Lord knows I would have given up by now otherwise. YouTube's algorithm seems to completely and utterly despise me, which does nothing to help with my practically non-existent self-confidence, so the fact that the people these videos actually reach are kind and supportive, it helps. It definitely helps keep me going. So I definitely do appreciate it. Anyway, this is the Gothic Gaming Geek signing out. Have a good one.